Hello everyone, I'm Agnes from Kaptar, and we decided to do this Facebook Kaptar sessions because we have an amazing community and also we have amazing partners. And actually one of our amazing partner is Serkan from Coworks 724. And we've been working with him for I think years now, and I find that he has a fascinating story and background, and we want to share it with all of you. So please introduce yourself, like who you are, what you do, and a few words about your story.
Thank you, Agnes, for the nice introduction and nice words about me. So my name is Serkan. I'm the founder of Coworking 724, and also now the Coworking Passes that we have recently launched in Budapest, where Kaptar has been the first partner to participate in the Coworking Pass program. Anyway, so about myself, I have been working location independent for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
Previously, in the first part of it was in a different context. So I'm coming from the corporate background where I worked for a multinational company for 20 years. And the last 7-8 years of that was in a location independent role. And within that context, location independent or independence had a different definition, where I didn't necessarily need to go to the office, and I was working with remote teams.
Yes.
And that kind of attracted me. And then also I was traveling a lot for business, and during those trips I started to get exposed to coworking spaces.
Yeah.
And actually the very first coworking space I had ever visited in my life was in Budapest. That was in 2014. And then, of course, after a while, you start to, feel like working for your own.
Yeah.
And creating a new lifestyle. And when I said enough is enough for my professional career in a multinational company, and I decided to create my own startup, I made the choice to do something about coworking.
Yeah.
And that's how I end up here.
That's great. I would be also really interested. You mentioned you worked for P&G, which is like a huge corporation, and you created a remote team there. So can you maybe tell us how you created a remote team in a very structured, old-fashioned company?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that was the new trend in P&G or in big companies, because as I said, I was working location independent, and that implied that I had to work remotely with people.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so I did work with remote teams, and I did create remote teams there. And then with all those learnings from my experience there, I'm right now reapplying them in my startup. But for me, I think you asked how to create remote office.
Yeah, so because obviously if it's a very old-fashioned organization, telling them that from next week I want to manage a remote team, that might have some...
Actually, to be fair, it was the kind of direction the company and the companies were going. So it was a big change already happening in the company.
Yeah.
Of course, there were people, there were organizations that resisted the change.
Yeah.
Okay. But those who embraced the change actually did enjoy working with remote teams, because what really matters is who is the right people to do the work. Okay, and it's not always possible to move those people to where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, and sometimes you just have to take it as granted that you need to work those great talents remotely.
Yeah.
Okay, so as the company direction was going there, I had the privilege to work with one of the early remote teams. And since then, it has gone into my blood and genes that I love working with remote teams.
Yeah, makes sense. So it's safe to say that you have years of experience of managing remote teams. In the beginning when you were really new to it, what were the mistakes that you made and that you would tell the audience avoid or do differently?
Well, good question. So I think it is easy to set up remote teams.
Yeah.
Okay. The more difficult thing is to establish effective remote teams.
Yes.
Meaning teams where people can work effectively with each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So you cannot just take granted that you bring 10 people who did not know each other before and who did not see each other before. You cannot assume that you bring them into a phone call and as of that moment they start working effectively. That doesn't happen. Okay, and sometimes in the beginning, especially, I assumed that would just happen. Okay, so my recommendation would be that you don't assume, but you just set up the structure for those people to start working effectively with each other.
So, like, how do you measure whether they are working effectively?
It's about the results. Whether if they are delivering what you expect from them, it means they are working effectively. If they are able to resolve their own conflicts among themselves without escalating to me, it means they are working effectively.
That makes sense.
But if every day you are getting a call from one person saying, hey, you know what, this person, this other person, I'll just use random names.
Okay.
If like John calls you saying, hey, Steve is not helping me, then you know something is not working well. But if people are able to just pick up the phone and resolve their own conflicts and get things done via each other, then I think it's a good sign that people are able to work effectively with each other.
I think in our audience we also have so many people who want to who currently working for a normal company and not remotely or not for a remote team. So when you hire someone, I think it would be interesting for you to listen if you want to get a remote job, like what kind of people you're hiring, like is there any kind of like specific talents that you're looking for, or like how do you decide whether that person can actually, how do you decide whether you can trust that person before you hire?
Okay, you asked many questions. So I'm going to put a couple of bullet points. First of all, for me, the most important thing is, of course, the business results, okay? So basically, before starting to work with someone, I define what is the work to be done. Okay? What is it that we want to achieve? So I define like the what. Okay? And then I go out and look for who is the right person to do that job, to do that work, okay? And then after that comes a couple of other criteria. One is passion. The person should have passion about my own startup, okay? And should feel the ownership and accountability for everything they do and for our success. So if I don't feel that passion, I wouldn't work with that person, even if that person is the best at what they are doing. And then there's a third criteria, which actually can be even more important than the others. Okay, I mean, I'm saying it's a third, but it's not the least important. That is, anyone working in my team should reflect the profile of our users. So that they can put themselves in the shoes of the users. Okay. That's actually another reason why I choose to work with remote people, with remote teams, location independent digital nomads. Okay, because I mean, we have to accept the fact that if somebody has worked 20 years in the same cubicle without leaving the hometown, they will never understand the digital nomad. They will never understand the location independence.
That's for sure.
So for me, that's a big criteria for a person to have in my team.
All right, and we were saying words like digital nomad and remote worker. Maybe can you tell like what the difference is like between just being location independent, actually like using it? Do you think it affects a person's personality as well?
Well, I think location independent work is a way of working. Okay, so basically it implies you can do your job, you can do your work without having to stick from a location. Okay, it could be from home, it could be from your home city, it could be from by the beach, it could be from anywhere. And that's a way of working. I think digital nomadism is a lifestyle, which only location independent people can do. Okay? If you have to work from an office, you cannot become a digital nomad.
But
that's
for sure.
For me, one is like a way of doing work, or a flexibility of being able to do work. The second one is a lifestyle. Not all location independents are digital nomads. Because it's a completely different lifestyle. That comes with its own pros and cons.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself a digital nomad or a remote worker?
Part-time. Because I mean, I have my home base. I have my home in Istanbul, where I'm settled with the family and everything. But at the same time, because of work, especially, I have to travel.
Yeah. So you travel actually like a lot. Like how many months a year? Like.
On average, I'm spending like 50% of my time outside of home.
Yeah. So like personally, like what kind of like challenges do you face? Like because like you work a lot and you travel a lot. Like how do you manage these both?
I wish I had like a recipe that would work for everyone.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm really passionate and excited about what I'm doing.
Yes.
And that really helps a lot. That keeps my energy level very high.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, it's not easy because you have to change climates, you have to change environments, you always have to be in the mode of planning, you always have to consider like what may go wrong, etc.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, but at the same time, it's something I really like because I get to know a lot of great people in person.
Yeah.
I get to visit a lot of great co-working spaces. So far, I think I've been to like almost 300, if not more than 300 in the last 2 years. And for me, every co-working space is unique and has their own story.
Okay, so if I would ask you, like, tell me like a few things that is in common in all co-working spaces, you would say you couldn't because they're like people, they're all different.
I usually feel a very positive vibe without exception in the co-working spaces. Yeah. So there's always a positive vibe. There's always an attitude of collaboration. Yeah. There's always an attitude of can-do. When people come across a problem or something goes wrong, it's usually like a tap on the shoulder. Don't worry, we'll sort it out.
We'll go through. Yeah.
We'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And I really like this attitude in the co-working spaces. And I've been to a co-working space where they had only 4 desks. I've also been to a space which was like 3 buildings, and they could host like 1,800 people. But the vibe is the same.
Yeah, but it's interesting what you're saying because that means that because there are so many co-working spaces, if one co-working space doesn't I guess match your expectations, that doesn't mean that you don't like co-working spaces. It just means that you have to find the one that matches what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah, keep searching for. And you will find one that will suit your lifestyle, that will help you work more effectively, that will help you have a better life. That's why actually we have the Coworking Pass, which gives you flexibility to access multiple spaces.
Yeah, so if you go to actually Apple Store, you can download the app and you can access my co-working spaces, which is something awesome, like one ticket to all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I'm gonna check because, yeah, so like one of the major questions we get so many times is obviously if someone is location independent, that also means that that person can work from home. So like, what would make you choose a co-working space over home?
I mean, when you work on something, your needs, your own needs, are not unified throughout the day.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think sometimes it is completely fine to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is completely fine to work from a cafe. Sometimes it is completely fine to stop your car while driving, park it, and work on something. Okay, so what matters is where do you get that piece of work done effectively. Okay, and sometimes all you need to do is just check email or respond to emails. You can do it from home. Okay, but when you are creating something, you need input from others.
Yeah.
You need the right ambience to get you more creative. Okay. I love going to co-working spaces when I'm, working on the next features of the app, or trying to fine-tune the co-working pass, or trying to create new passes. Okay.
Yes.
And whenever I have a new idea, I can just turn left and ask someone, hi Agnes, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Or I can just turn right and ask someone else's opinion whether that pass would suit their needs. I cannot do it at home.
Yeah, it really fastens up the whole like market research part. Yeah.
It's great for getting feedback. It is great for skill exchange.
Like brainstorming.
It's
Yeah.
great for brainstorming. And at the end of the day, we're also all humans. We need the personal
That's
interaction.
true.
Okay.
So,
we need to get breaks from working, and co-working
Yeah.
space just create the right environment for that.
Yeah, you can definitely find people who will just say like, okay, let's go for a coffee, and you
Yes.
can find someone who's like, yeah, actually, I need some caffeine too.
And Kaptar is very good coffee.
Actually, yes, we have specialty coffee, so definitely come and join us. Yeah, so like, talking about like being a human, obviously like we are people of habits. So like, and if you travel like almost like full time, it's like, what kind of habits do you have? Like, how do you I guess create like a normal lifestyle by being or like having a crazy one at the same time, just obviously traveling almost full time?
Well, that's another very good and hard question. I have to think about it. Well, of course, like I cannot always execute my hobbies while I'm on the road.
Yeah.
But every day, I mean, I try to create some personal time where I can just, reflect on things, think about things. I go for walks. I try to discover the cities, and that I think I can do pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay? I watch some movies on Netflix or whatever. Those things I can do online. Also, I can do while traveling. But of course, it's not like always the same as living in one place in one home.
Yes, that's true.
So you have to change your habits. You have to change your working style. You have to change even your skills.
That's true. And also like talking about like personal habits. Like obviously there are like habits that you can like develop within your company, and especially remote team. I guess you have to. Like, I'm just interested, like, what kind of company habits do you have? Do you have like daily stand-ups, or like what's the day looks like, or like what the week looks like?
Actually, over time, I mean, it's been like almost 2 years. It's been like 2 years since I started this Coworking 724, and over time we always adjusted the way we work to what fits the team at that time. Okay. Of course, as in any startup, people change, and as mentioned earlier, I try to hire for the work to be done. So when the work is done, it has happened that we went in different directions with the people.
Yes.
Okay? And that's completely normal. So over time, we applied different ways of working. Okay? So there was a period where we used to come together every 3 weeks in one location. I would bring the whole team, and that really helped initially to set the strategy for us. So for 1 week, we came together in one city somewhere, and we used that week to for team building, for setting the strategy, etc. Right now, we have a strategy that I believe will be valid for the next 5 years. So I don't need to do it again. Right anymore. Okay?
I see.
Another thing that we kept as a drumbeat was every Monday at the same time, the team would come together in a phone call where we would update each other on 3 things. So everybody had to take the air time to update the whole team on 3 things. Okay? And then anything else, people would just work offline. Right now, actually, for the last couple of months, we again changed the way we work. Now, because the current team is together for more than a year now, even more than 1.5 years now, so they don't need that much team building. People can just manage it on their own. Right now, the way we work is that I define what's the work to be done. I align it with them, and then people are mature enough, capable enough to go and get it done offline.
Yeah, that's actually kind of answered my question, because like we in Kaptar, we also have many people who are working as an HR, like working in HR, and one of their nightmares is like having a team who don't really know each other, because like obviously if the team doesn't really get connected with each other, they might not want to stay at the company that long, or like keep the motivation up. So like these are all like very hard questions that a remote team leader has to face. So I think this like getting together every 3 weeks, like in the beginning when you needed the strategy.
1 week every 3 months was that was the period. So, but at that time we needed that because I had an idea, I had a vision, but I really didn't know how to get there.
Yes.
So I actually brought the team together to help me define the roadmap, define the strategy, make the choices. So as a startup, you have to make a lot of choices. You don't have the resources to do everything at the same time.
That's true.
And that was one of my biggest learnings after having come from a company like P&G, where you had absolutely much more resources to get things done. But I learned how to work in a very scarce environment where money is scarce, time is scarce, people are scarce, everything is scarce.
Yeah.
But that was something.
All right, that's good. So like we also had a lot of startups, so we're gonna address you guys as well. So like if you have absolutely like almost no budget, like what do you do? Like how do you motivate your people to like how do you like manage to get most out of your team without spending a fortune?
Of course, I mean it's not about like it's not that we didn't have money. Again, we still have the financial means to continue the startup, but it's not like it's always limited budget. Okay? It's not like I have $1 million budget to go with TV ads or marketing or with billboards to make the Coworking Pass known in Budapest. If I had like $2 million, I could have done a lot of things differently. Okay? I could run a lot of events. I would, become a sponsor at maybe the Skate Fest, whatever. So everybody would be aware of us, but we don't have that budget. So we have to do things differently. We have to use a lot of personal contacts. We have to create the right environment for people to try to enjoy it, etc. So that's what I meant. That you have to become creative to operate under scarcity.
Yeah. So you have to do smart marketing instead of expensive one.
With marketing, with product development, with PR, with everything. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's quite a challenge. All right. We have a few questions here, but if any point anyone wants to ask anything, please just comment. We were talking about like also co-working spaces, like and how like all of them are so different. Like, what makes you choose a co-working space over another?
Well, again, it depends on my specific need at that point in time about the work I want to do. Okay. Sometimes I would like to work really in a very quiet environment. Okay, I want to focus. I want a space not disturbed. Okay, so I would probably go to for that need to be addressed. I would probably go to a co-working space which I know is very quiet. Okay, but sometimes, as mentioned earlier, I would like to collect feedback about our next designs. I would like to collect feedback about our launch plan in another city like Belgrade, Zagreb, Warsaw, whatever. Okay, then I would go to a co-working space where I know I could just tap on the shoulder and ask for feedback. So it's all about like the specific need at the time. And that's I think how many people behave and choose spaces. There's another 2 points. One is accessibility. That's something I learned from our users, and it's also valid for me. People don't want to commute more than like 15-20 minutes to a co-working space. So they go to the most convenient and easily accessible one. And the other one is, of course, price.
Yes, that's always a factor. All right. Thank you for answering the questions. Is there anything else about the company that you want to share with the audience?
Use the Coworking Pass.
All right. We're going to like make this live video accessible. So if you will have any other questions, like feel free to comment, and Serkan can answer you later as well.
Yes.
Right.
I will try to answer them. Last but not least, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
It's always been a pleasure to be in Kaptar, to work from Kaptar, and to be part of these live sessions. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, and bye. Yeah.